Hey everybody, welcome back. Scranton Strangler here. Going to be talking about NFL Monday Night Football tonight. It is week 2. First off, I want to appreciate everybody for stopping by. I do apologize over the past few days. I haven't been able to do my stream for last weekend, all weekend really. Friday was cut short. Saturday and Sunday I wasn't able to. I was at a Halloween convention with sponsor Metalhead Threads that I have on my sites. It was really, really fun. So appreciate everybody who came out there. That was super fun. Got some videos, pictures, stuff like that up on social media if y'all want to check that out. And then you can also go to metalheadthreads.com and check that one out as well. But again, apologize for that. I wasn't able to. I wasn't expecting to not be able to, or else I would have done my videos kind of advance and then shared them at the appropriate time. But we're going to start off today. We're going to be talking about the NFL, and then tomorrow I'll be releasing my top 25, Heisman, etc. But today we're going to start it off. This injury, this weekend was injury plagued, and man, it especially wasn't good for me. You know, as y'all know, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I'm a little heartbroken that Big Ben's out. But we're going to start it off right there with Ben Roethlisberger. They announced today that he will be missing the rest of the season, so they're going to put him on IR. They are scheduling a surgery that they're going to have on his right elbow that's going to keep him out for the rest of the season. So hoping a speedy recovery for him. But unfortunately, he's lost for the end of the season. He did say, however, today there is some speculation that this just might end up being his retirement. I don't believe that to be true. He's already said he's going to hold up. You know, he has a contract extension for a couple of years, so he already said that he's going to hold up to his end of the contract. I definitely believe you're the most. Oh wow. I definitely believe that he'll be back, next year, and hopefully in primetime shape, and maybe make one last hoorah. You never know. But he will be out. So the Pittsburgh Steelers' playoff chances did definitely take a pretty big toll in that, and I think they're down, but they're not out. Mason Rudolph did take over in the second half of that game, and he did look good. He was 12 for 19, only 112 yards, but he threw 2 touchdowns. The one interception that he did throw was kind of starting on his first drive, and it wasn't even his fault. Unfortunately, Dante Moncrief, unfortunately, he just can't catch a cold, and he's really struggling. Obviously, he had 0 catches for 0 yards over this game, and he even struggled in the previous game against the Patriots. He's had some finger issues over the preseason. And in training camp, stuff like that, he had finger surgery, and he's just not able to recover. So I don't really quite know what's going on with him. I don't know what they're going to do about it, or do they trust some of those other younger players to step up, or are they going to keep throwing it to Dante Moncrief, who has proven time and time again, year after year, that he's not a reliable target and a reliable source. So we'll keep an eye out for that one. The offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they did good as far as protecting the quarterback, but I think they need to do a better job in the running game. The running game is obsolete in this offense, and you can't be one-dimensional. So especially with a young quarterback who's going to be starting his first game next week, you can't rely on one side of your offense. So they need to open up the running game, which is going to help out Mason Rudolph immensely. James Conner did go out with an injury in the last game, but he was able to come back, and they did say that he's okay and he will be there next week. But 11 carries for 33 yards and a 1-yard touchdown run, that's not very productive. So, you're averaging just over 3 yards a carry. So that's something absolutely that they really need to fix. Defense is going to, they need to tighten up. It's the passing game that's really killing them. They had a couple of strips that I thought were good, a couple of strip fumbles. Both of them were almost taken to the end zone. or one of them was taken to the end zone, and the other one was taken to the 3-yard line. But one in the end zone got called back for a block in the back. That was the biggest. It looked like LeBron James out there flopping. So, all in all, Pittsburgh, it's going to be a long season for you guys. But hopefully you can build off of it with Mason Rudolph. I think he's a solid guy. We'll see how much he grows, and maybe he could be that next Ben that took over for Tommy Maddox in 03 and really led on or in 04 and kind of took off and never really looked back. So that's going to be for the IR injury report for Ben Roethlisberger. We also have Drew Brees. 2 legendary quarterbacks went out, and then we had Foles went out last week. So this NFL season in 2019 has not been kind to quarterbacks. But Drew Brees, they're repairing a torn ligament in his right throwing hand. Sean Payton didn't really want to give a timetable for that, but they said it was going to be probably give or take around 6 weeks for his return. So you have Teddy Bridgewater stepping in and going and traveling to a tough environment in Seattle. So hopefully Teddy can kind of retake those early forms that he was looking like at the beginning of his rookie year, but before he went down with some injuries. Some other notable injuries. Obviously, it's not all of them, or else I'd be here for a while, because it's been a rough week for some NFL players. But you do have Gallup, really the big workhorse so far for the Dallas Cowboys' prolific offense. Their top receiver, leading receiver, is going to be out for about 2 to 4 weeks. He tore his meniscus, so they're going to have to trim that up and see if they can kind of get that going. Shouldn't be, the longest I see that going to be is a month. Wasn't too serious, but they've got plenty of weapons out there to kind of pick up that slack. Martin Cooper, they got big old Jason Witten back, and so on and so forth. So don't see him missing too much time. Then you have David Johnson from the Arizona Cardinals. It's a wrist injury. He did look okay, though. He said it was going to be fine, but it is worth noting, just keep an eye out for that. That's why he was out a couple years ago. He broke his wrist. Just keep an eye out. Hopefully he can stay healthy and protect that a little bit better. Other one's going to be LaShawn McCoy. He's going to have an MRI today for his ankle in Andy Reid's offense. So Damian Williams will he was before, but he'll be definitely taking the bulk of that, following up on that news. Other ones are going to be Marcus Mariota. He does have a groin issue. He did sit out today in practice, but they have said that it's not going to be a game injury, that they're going to keep him out for next week. And then the other one is really, it seems like, just the Eagles' wide receiving core. You've got the Deshaun Jackson that left in the first quarter of last night's game. You've got Alshon Jeffrey that's out, and then you also have the tight end Goddard. So hopefully they can get a little bit more healthy. I had probably one of my worst weeks in fantasy this week, and it's because I had Ben Roethlisberger injury, James Conner injury. Who else did I have? Tyreek Hill, which is has been out for an injury. Alshon Jeffrey for injury. So it's been a rough week. So hopefully some of these guys can get healthy, and I can get above 500 again, because right now I'm 1-1 in my fantasy league. So. But that does bring us to tonight's game. Like I said, tonight we're going to end off on the Monday Night Football talk. Cleveland versus the Jets. A lot of this game was it was very anticipated for this season, primarily because of the Baker versus Sam Darnold aspect of it. A lot of people, if you look at last season going back, a lot of people were wishy-washy on Baker. A lot of people thought that they should have taken Sam Darnold with the first overall pick, vice versa. A lot of people thought, so there's a lot of anticipation, like I said, for this game. So it's going to be interesting. Now the big headline, obviously, for this is that Sam Darnold isn't even going to play. In fact, a big headline of this game is the New York Jets are just really, really what's going to happen with this, the headline for not only just this game, but kind of going forward, is the New York Jets are going to be injury plagued, and not just that quarterback position. They have Sam Darnold, C.J. Mosley, which is a huge contributor on that defense, especially in his first game last week, starting it off with a pick six, is going to be out. Who else did we have? Quincy Enunwa, one of their best receivers, one of their very solid receivers, is going to be out with his second neck injury. So, prayers to him. Hopefully, he can get better and get back onto the field maybe next season. But they did put him on IR, and then they signed Demaryius Thomas, traded him for a 2021 sixth-round pick from the New England Patriots. Thought that was a pretty solid pickup, especially for what they got from, what they had to give up, a sixth-round pick in a couple of years. So I thought that was very good on the Jets' part. But they're just having so much issues as far as people staying healthy. I've got they won't have Sam Darnold. They're going to have Trevor Siemian, who comes over from Denver. Very wishy-washy, very basic. I hate to say that, but he didn't wow anybody. Obviously, you had the quarterback battle between him and Paxton Lynch a few years ago. Neither of them panned out. That's why you got Joe Flacco taking over that spot at the moment. We'll see how long that lasts. But so new faces on that team. You're going to have Le'Veon Bell. He's going to be really that workhorse, especially tonight with limited cast, if you will. And then you have Robbie Anderson for the New York Jets that can hopefully get things going. Now, on the opposite side of the ball, the Cleveland Browns, both of these teams really started off their season not too hot. They start off with a disappointing loss. Cleveland Browns, so much hype throughout the offseason, throughout the preseason, and then they go out so very flat against the Tennessee Titans, and they just get romped. And then you have the New York Jets. They've got all these they got a brand new coach. They've got a new GM. They finally get their quarterback that they've been waiting for a few years, and he's had that year to in his rookie season to develop and grow. And so you've got him coming out, and so you've got all these new faces. You got Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley. It was just very disappointing. So going back to Cleveland, really what kind of plagued them were penalties and their offensive line last week. Those are the two biggest things that they need to improve on. My keys to the game for both of these teams. Now, Cleveland is favored by 7, and I'm actually going to be taking Cleveland to cover that. A lot of it is going to be because of the injuries. There are, I hope I didn't miss any. We got Sam Darnold obviously going out, and Trevor Siemian stepping in. Bell will be there, but Mosley, their new stud at middle linebacker, is going to be out. Quincy Enunwa, and then their first-round pick this year overall, Quinnen Williams, is going to be out. So those are not only starters, but they're key starters for that football team. And for such an anticipated game, it's such a shame that I'm not going to see both teams playing at their full potential. So it's a game that I was kind of circling for the Cleveland Browns. I circled this game, and I also circled, I believe it's week 13 or 15. I think it's 15. It's week 15, and that's going to be against the Arizona Cardinals, specifically because I wanted to see the Baker Mayfield Kyler Murray showdown. But we'll see how that stacks up. Hopefully both of those gentlemen can stay healthy, and I can see that game the way I want to, right? Now, the keys for my game, for this game for me, keys to win. You look at Cleveland, and two keys right here. They need, number one, to protect Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield got sacked 5 times last week for negative 41 yards. Yep, got it right. So negative 41 yards on 5 sacks. That's not helpful. On the opposite side of the ball, their keys to win is to pressure the quarterback. Baker didn't do very good last week against the QB, despite him doing so well against it last year. So Baker Mayfield, he was threw 3 interceptions, got sacked 5 times, all against the pressure. So the key for both of these teams, one of it is to protect Baker, the other one's to get Baker. So we're going to see how that goes. Jets did a decent job last week at getting to the quarterback. I believe they sacked Josh Allen 4 different times. They had multiple turnovers. So the Jets defense is doing what it needs to do. Now we'll see what they can do without 2 key players in Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley. The other one for both of these teams on the Cleveland side of the ball is convert third downs. They were, it was 1 for 10. They were 1 for 10, on third down conversions last week with those 3, and then the 3 interceptions. That's not very good. On the opposite side of the ball, the third down defense for the Jets did extremely well last week. They held them to under 50% if you look at third and fourth downs. They were 50% against third down. They allowed 5 of 10, which is still a decent number, but then you add the fourth downs into it, and they were 0-1. Another side note on that, the Cleveland Browns tried to go for it twice on fourth downs and failed them both. So they were 1 for 10 on third and 0 for 2 on fourth. They need to convert third downs. On the opposite side of the ball, the Jets need to hold on third downs, continue what they built off of last week. So, all in all, I think it's going to be a good game. It's just very disappointing that they're not going to have all their key players out there. So, I'm taking Cleveland by that 7. I actually have them winning 31-10. I just don't know what Trevor Siemian's going to really be able to do. I almost had him at 31-14, but that's kind of shows the confidence, I hate to say it, that I have in Trevor Siemian. I think Adam Gase is a great coach. He's a great offensive mind. So if they score more points, I think it's going to be because he knows how to get the ball in his best playmaker's hands, which unfortunately isn't going to be the quarterback for them this week. Hopefully he doesn't miss too much. But RIP to my man. You're breaking my heart right now. I know. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they didn't have a very good. Sorry, I got my pin in the way. Pittsburgh Steelers didn't have a very good a game, and then I talked about it a little bit earlier at the beginning of the podcast, so I want to rewatch it, check that. But yeah, it is heartbreaking. It really is. I hope that they can kind of do better defensively, offensive line wise, running the ball, and then Mason Rudolph. He's a highlight. I think he's, I just don't see him leading us to a playoff, unfortunately. So maybe, but I think he's a great quarterback. I like what I've seen from him so far. They just need to quit throwing the ball to Dante Moncrief. that guy kills me. He kills me. So, anyways, sorry. Oh no, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. So, and of course, Big Ben. He's done for the season. So that's kind of the killer there. He had he's gonna have surgery this week to repair that right elbow. So, but that's really kind of sums it up for me, guys. If you missed it earlier, I apologize. This past weekend, really wasn't able to get on the stream. I was at a Halloween convention with the sponsor Metalhead Threads, so that kind of prohibited me from getting on. If I would have known that I didn't have as little time as I did, I would have pre-recorded it and then released it. But again, it's not going to happen. I will definitely be on a regular basis, like I usually am. So appreciate all of y'all for stopping by. I've got, again, Cleveland winning this one due to injuries on the Jets side of the ball, and go Cleveland, right? 31-10. I look for them to bounce back. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate it, and I'll be on later tonight on the PC. So have a good one.